So, hello friends, welcome back to this series of MCQs on plant physiology paper for your class. And today we're going to have some practice questions, multiple choice questions on a very important topic from this paper, plant physiology, and that is seed dormancy. Okay. So here you can see a beautiful picture of seed dormancy, breaking and seed germinating. This is P seed germination showing hypogeal germination that we're going to discuss in the next lecture. Here in this lecture, we're going to focus on multiple choice questions on seed dormancy. So before discussing the actual questions, we have to see this chart showing classification or different types of seed dormancy, exogenous seed dormancy, endogenous dormancy, and combinational. These two are important. Exogenous or due to the external factors, endogenous dormancy due to some internal factors, and combinational is a combination of exogenous and endogenous factors. So exogenous or external factors, it doesn't concern with the external or outer environmental factor, but in fact, when you consider seed, the seed is called as a matured or ripened ovule. After fertilization, ovule is converted into seed, and the ovary is converted into the fruit. So this ovule, this ovule, a mature ovule or seed, mainly consists of the central important part, and that is called as the embryo, product of fertilization. This embryo has some amount of storage reserve food in the endosperm or your cotyledon, and the everything and the whole thing is covered by seed coat. So that is called as the seed. So when we call exogenous factors responsible for seed dormancy, it refers to the factors which are present outside the embryo of the seed. So whatever is present in seed that is outside the embryo, that is your seed covering, seed coat, or even your fruit, because fruits are the structure in which seeds are present. Seeds are present in the fruit. So whatever that is present outside the embryo, these are called as exogenous conditions, exogenous factors, external factors which are responsible for seed dormancy. And it is of different types: physical dormancy, chemical dormancy, and mechanical dormancy. Different types of exogenous seed dormancy. Whereas endogenous seed dormancy, it is referring to the dormancy which is due to the internal factors, that is the factors which are present inside the embryo itself. So when the embryo is responsible for seed dormancy, then it is called as endogenous dormancy. It is called as embryo dormancy. And it may be morphological dormancy, that is due to some morphological defects in the embryo, or it is maybe due to some physiological, you can say physiological defects or physiological imperfections, physiological disturbance in the processes which are occurring inside the embryo. So these are called as endogenous dormancy. Now, combinational dormancy is called as double dormancy. That means two different types of dormancy is existing in the seed at the same time. So it is called as combinational dormancy or double dormancy. So as you can see the name morphophysiological. So it is a combination of morphological dormancy as well as physiological dormancy. Both are the types of endogenous dormancy. So this type can be regarded as a third type of endogenous dormancy, but it can be also regarded as a subtype of combinational dormancy, because two different types of dormancies are existing in the seed here in this case: morphological dormancy and physiological dormancy. Similarly, it may be a combination of exogenous type of dormancy and endogenous type of dormancy, as here is the case, physico-morphological dormancy. That means it is a combination of physical dormancy and morphological dormancy. Physical dormancy is a type of exogenous dormancy, and morphological dormancy is a type of endogenous dormancy. So when both these two types of dormancies are present in a seed at the same time, it is called as combinational dormancy. So you have to remember this chart while we discuss the questions, multiple choice questions on this topic of seed dormancy: exogenous dormancy, endogenous dormancy, and combinational dormancy. Exogenous dormancy is of three types: physical dormancy, chemical dormancy, and mechanical dormancy. Whereas endogenous dormancy may be morphological dormancy, physiological dormancy, or morphophysiological dormancy, and combinational dormancy is your double dormancy. Now, all these are the types of primary dormancy. Secondary dormancy is another thing that we are again going to discuss, and it may be conditional dormancy or thermodormancy. These are the types of secondary dormancy. Okay, we'll begin with our session on these multiple choice questions on seed dormancy. We'll start with the first question. Question number 1: when the seeds do not germinate, that is a very simple definition of seed dormancy. When the seeds do not germinate, it is called as seed dormancy. Even if the embryo inside the seed is viable, seeds do not germinate, and that means seeds are dormant seeds. When the seeds do not germinate, even when the environmental conditions, outer conditions, are favorable for germination. The outer conditions like your optimum temperature, or your availability of water or moisture, availability of aeration or oxygen for respiration, these conditions are favorable for germination. But in that case also, if seeds do not germinate, the phenomenon or the condition is called as dormancy. So B is the answer here. When the seeds do not germinate, even under favorable environmental condition for germination, conditions favorable for germination, it is called as dormancy. You may think, why? If the conditions are favorable, if the environmental conditions are favorable for germinations, why seeds do not germinate? Why they showed dormancy? Why seeds remain dormant? So it may be the fact like that. If the conditions are favorable, but they may be temporary conditions which are favorable, they may revert back to unfavorable, harsh conditions in case seeds germinate and they give rise to new seedling, new plant body, which is very young plant, very tender, very soft plant. And in that case, if the conditions become harsh, unfavorable, then that will be the problematic. So seed has to decide when to break dormancy and when to start germination. So seed has to assure itself that it is now fully competent, it is now fully, you can say, it is fully ready for its germination. It can now break its dormancy and then it starts germination. So irrespective of the environmental conditions, the seeds germinate on its own after making itself that much potent. So here, when seeds do not germinate, even when the environmental conditions are favorable for germination, then the condition is called as dormancy. So you have to think in other way. If seeds do not germinate when environmental conditions are not favorable, then what happens? That is in the second question. You can see here. When the seeds do not germinate, when the environmental conditions are not favorable for germination, then the condition is called as, here the answer is this, A. Condition is called as quiescence. It is called as quiescence, and such seeds are called as quiescent seeds. In the previous question, conditions were favorable and seeds are called as dormant seeds. Here conditions are not favorable for germination and therefore seeds do not germinate, and such seeds are called as quiescent seeds. This phenomenon is different from dormancy. So here answer is A. When the non-dormant seeds, means those seeds which start their germination immediately after getting water, they imbibe water and there is emergence of radicle and seed germination starts without any dormancy period. Such seeds are called as non-dormant seeds. Whereas post-dormant seeds means those seeds which have started their germination by imbibition, they have absorbed much amount of moisture and they have started their germination. But even in that case, if such seeds which are non-dormant or post-dormant, they do not germinate, or post-dormant seeds undergo dormancy, they re-enter dormancy period. After breaking dormancy, after starting germination, if they re-enter dormancy period, if the environmental conditions are not favorable for germination, then the condition is called as, so here the answer is secondary dormancy. So this is the dormancy which is induced afterwards, after seeds have been germinated, after seeds have been dispersed. So that dormancy which is present when the seed is shed from the parent plant, when the seed is shed from its mother plant, then that is inherent dormancy and it is called as primary dormancy. The dormancy which is present in the seed before its dispersal is called as primary dormancy, whereas the dormancy which is induced in the seed after the seed has been dispersed, after the seed has been germinated, but the environmental conditions have become unfavorable for germination, then such a dormancy is called as secondary dormancy. So here the answer is B, secondary dormancy. And as I told you, secondary dormancy, it may be of thermodormancy type, or it may be of conditional dormancy type. But whatever we are going to discuss, it is related to the primary dormancy of the seed. So that is important. Okay, the dormancy which exists in the seed as it is shed from the plant, just now we discussed, that is existing before seed dispersal, is called as, this is very simple question for you now. This is called as primary dormancy, A. When the seed dormancy is due to an impermeable seed coverings, so due to impermeability of seed covering, then in that case, it is called as what type of dormancy? So here, there is impermeability of seed covering. Seed coverings means not only seed coat, seed coverings include seed coat plus as well as whatever that is present outside the seed. It may include the fruit because the seeds are present in the fruit. So that fruit covering or the entire fruit, which is called as the pericarp, which is made up of epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, everything is included in the seed coverings. So if that structure or if those structures like seed coat or pericarp are impermeable to the entry of your water for imbibition or oxygen for your respiration of these seeds, then the condition is called as physical dormancy. B is the answer. Okay. When the seed dormancy is due to germination inhibitors in seed coverings, it is called as. So these substances are chemical substances. These are inhibitor substances which inhibit seed germination, therefore cause seed dormancy when they are present in the seed coverings. Again in your seed coat as well as in fruit. Then the dormancy is called as chemical dormancy. Chemical dormancy is usually found in fleshy type of fruits, or those fruits in which the seeds are present in those seeds which are present in the fruits which are fleshy, juicy fruits. So because there are chemical substances which inhibit their germination. Whereas in case of the previous dormancy, physical dormancy, it is mainly shown by the drupe type of fruits, stone fruits, due to their hard nature of seed coverings, especially in case of your Leguminosae family, Fabaceae family, physical dormancy is present. Whereas in this case, chemical dormancy, in examples like your tomato or your cucumber, fleshy fruits, your apple, your lemons, those fruits are showing chemical dormancy. C is the answer here. When there is a resistance to the growth and expansion of an embryo, seed dormancy is called as. So here, the seed dormancy is due to the resistance given by the seed coverings, that is seed coat as well as the pericarp. These are the very hard structures, though in this case they may be permeable to water and oxygen, but they are so hard that embryo is not able to grow and expand. It is not able to emerge out in the form of radical. Radical cannot emerge outside by breaking those hard structures. So such a type of resistance is called as mechanical resistance, and therefore this type of dormancy is called as mechanical dormancy. So up till now we studied physical dormancy, chemical dormancy, and mechanical dormancy. All these three types are of exogenous dormancy, that is the factors which are present outside the embryo of the seed. And if the seed dormancy is due to the factors which are present inside the embryo of the seed, it is called as endogenous dormancy. So here answer is D, mechanical dormancy. Okay, so the same question, endogenous dormancy is caused due to the factors or conditions within the embryo. And it is of two types. We have seen in that chart, endogenous dormancy, it is also called as embryo dormancy, and it may be morphological dormancy because of morphological problems in the embryo development, or it is due to some physiological problems in the embryo development, and accordingly it is called as morphological dormancy and physiological dormancy. Okay, next one. The exogenous dormancy is caused by the factors or conditions. Exo means outside the embryo. Again, exogenous dormancy is due to the factors outside the embryo. Endogenous dormancy is due to factors inside or inside the embryo or embryo itself. So here the answer is C, embryo. Which of the following types of seed dormancy can be overcome? It can be broken down with dry storage of grains of cereals. So if you store cereals, wheat, rye, or bajra, it is called as dry storage, then it can break down the dormancy and called as physiological dormancy. Now you have studied physiological dormancy is of three types. It is a non-deep or shallow type of dormancy, and it is a very deep type of dormancy, or it may be intermediate type of dormancy. So non-deep or shallow type of dormancy can be broken, physiological dormancy can be broken by this method called as dry storage. So C is the answer here, a type of endogenous dormancy. When the seed dormancy is due to undifferentiated or undeveloped, rudimentary embryo, then it is called as what type of dormancy? Okay, of course, this is endogenous type of dormancy because it is regarding the embryo, factors or condition of the embryo. And here embryo is undifferentiated. It is not differentiated at the time when the seed is shed from the mother plant. So that is the case. So this embryo has to take some time for its development, and that's why it is undergoing dormancy period. It is not immediately germinating, and this type of seed dormancy where embryo is morphologically not perfect, then it is called as morphological endogenous dormancy, because here embryo is undifferentiated, rudimentary, underdeveloped. So here answer is D. Next one. The physical dormancy, type of exogenous dormancy due to impermeable seed coat, can be overcome. It can be broken down by which method? Scarification, stratification, leaching after ripening. So here your answer is scarification. Physical dormancy can be broken down by scarification. Scarification means softening of seed coat, softening of seed covering, either by means of some mechanical means, by using your some abrasive substance like your sandpaper, or using you see some acid, that is called as acid scarification, like H2SO4 HCl acid can be used, or you can use your warm water, hot water treatment is given, or water moist scarification is also given to soften the seed covering so that physical dormancy is broken down. So physical dormancy can be broken down by scarification methods. A is the answer. Okay, the time required by seeds in dry storage to break or overcome dormancy. What type of dormancy? Physiological dormancy. And this time is called as after ripening. So if that much time is provided, then that dormancy can be overcome, which is physiological type of dormancy, endogenous type of dormancy. D is the answer here. Which of the following types of seed dormancy can be overcome by after ripening or dry storage of the seed? Just now we have seen physiological type of dormancy can be overcome by after ripening or dry storage. C is the answer. Which of the following types of seed dormancy can be overcome by moist chilling or chilling stratification of the seed? Okay, this type of stratification is also called as cold stratification. There are two types of stratification: warm stratification and cold stratification. So which of the following types of seed dormancy can be broken by cold stratification? So that is the question. Cold stratification is the method which is used to break what type of seed dormancy? Here the answer is physiological dormancy. Physiological dormancy can be broken by dry storage method or by cold stratification method, in which the seeds are soaked in your water. Seeds are soaked in water at a very, and they are stored at a very low temperature, and then some that water is drained out, and again seeds are then stored in your either refrigerator or in outdoor condition at a very low temperature of 1 to 10 degrees Celsius for some period, and that method is called as stratification. So that we're going to discuss in the next question. So here the answer is C, physiological dormancy. See here. So that practice, horticultural practice, in which seeds are placed between layers of moist sand, or you can use moist soil, Between they are placed between layers so that aeration is provided, aerated medium. And if such a seeds are exposed to chilling temperature, very low temperature for a certain period to break dormancy, this is called as what method? This method is called as stratification. Strata means layers. Seeds are placed in alternate layers of moist sand and soil and given a low temperature treatment, and this is called as cold stratification. This method, this practice is a horticultural practice which has been practiced from many many hundreds of years, and this is called as stratification. B is the answer here. Okay. Which of the following types of seed dormancy can be overcome by leaching? Okay, leaching, important process, leaching of the seed. So you see, chemical type of dormancy can be overcome by leaching method. Leaching involves just soaking your seeds or washing your seeds in water. If you wash seeds continue, if they are placed in water continuously, then leaching out of the chemical substances, inhibitor substances which are present in the seed coverings, they are leached out. They are released outside the seeds. Okay, so for removing that chemical dormancy, leaching method is used. Okay, so here answer is B, chemical. Which of the following is the most common mechanism for delaying seed germination? To delay seed germination means seed dormancy. Seed germination is delayed in seed dormancy. So here, this is indirect question. Direct question is, which of the following is the most common method of seed dormancy? Which is the most common type of seed dormancy, which is very common, frequent, general type of seed dormancy? And this is important question. So here you have to remember that physiological dormancy is the most common type of seed dormancy found in plants. B is the answer. Okay, so you have to match the list. Matching type question has come here. List 1 you have to match with list 2 and select the correct answer using the codes given below the list. So this is the first list giving methods to break dormancy, and this is the second list giving types of dormancy. And options are given with the help of codes A, B, C, D, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 3, like this. You have to match. So what you'll do? See here, warm, moist, cold, moist treatment, warm, moist treatment, scarification method to break dormancy is followed by cold stratification, and here scarification is followed by warm stratification. Now see here, warm moist is equivalent to warm stratification. This is the same. Warm moist treatment means warm stratification. Cold moist treatment means cold stratification. Now cold stratification treatment is given to break, you have stated cold stratification is given to break physiological dormancy, whereas warm stratification is usually given to break morphological dormancy. We have studied there are two types of endogenous dormancy, morphological dormancy and physiological dormancy. Physiological dormancy can be broken by cold stratification. Morphological dormancy can be broken by warm stratification. Similarly, mechanical dormancy, this can also be broken by warm stratification. Now, mechanical dormancy is a type of physical, your exogenous dormancy. Exogenous dormancy consists of physical dormancy, chemical dormancy, and mechanical dormancy. In that case, physical dormancy can be broken by scarification method. Chemical dormancy can be broken by leaching method, and mechanical dormancy here can be broken by warm stratification. Now you will ask the question that why morphological dormancy, which is a type of endogenous dormancy, and mechanical dormancy, which is a type of exogenous dormancy, they can be broken by the same method, warm stratification. The answer here is that in both the types of dormancy, mechanical dormancy and your morphological dormancy, there is involvement of embryo. Here, embryo is not able to grow and expand. In case of morphological dormancy, the growth of embryo is very restricted, so it has to grow. In case of mechanical dormancy, the embryo is capable of growing, but the outer seed coverings are not allowing it to grow. So if you give warm stratification, both the types, mechanical as well as morphological dormancies, can be broken down. So here now we can easily match out. So you can see warm moist, which is warm stratification, is followed by cold stratification. So warm stratification is required for morphological dormancy, Cold stratification is required for physiological dormancy. So A, 3 here. Warm stratification, then mechanical dormancy. Scarification is used for physical dormancy. So here physiological dormancy. And cold stratification for physiological dormancy. So C is matching with 4. So in this way, you have to match scarification, physical dormancy, warm stratification, again for morphological. So if you match like this, you will get the correct answer. A, B, C, D, 3, 1, 4, 2. Correct answer is option A. Which of the following is the first step in seed germination? After breaking seed dormancy, seeds germinate. So which is the first step? So these are the processes which are involved in seed germination: emergence of radicle, synthesis of hydrolyzing enzymes, metabolism of storage reserve, and imbibition of water. So of these, imbibition of water is the very first, because dormant seeds are dry seeds, and they have to imbibe water first. After imbibition of water, imbibition is a type of osmosis movement of water along the concentration gradient, that is from the region of higher to lower concentration, just like osmosis. Here the only difference is that in case of osmosis there is involvement of semi-permeable membrane, and here there is no semi-permeable membrane involved, but water is moving from high concentration to low concentration. As the seeds are very dry, there is a very less or minimum amount of water, therefore water enters the seed by process of imbibition. Due to imbibition, then seeds swell, there is increase and expansion of the embryo, and then embryo synthesize some hormone called as gibberellic acid, gibberellin, and this gibberellin then allow the synthesis of hydrolyzing enzymes like your amylase, alpha amylase and beta amylase for degradation of starch, then production of proteases and peptidases for degradation of proteins, then the production of lipases for degradation of your fats or triacylglycerols, so that this complex reserve food material are broken down into a simple material like sugar or amino acids for providing building blocks for new growth and development of embryo, as well as for providing energy to the growing embryo. So that is the metabolism of storage reserve. So first step is imbibition, then synthesis of hydrolyzing enzyme, then next one is metabolism of storage reserve, and the last step in seed germination is emergence of radicle and plumule, and that can be regarded as the first visible sign of seed germination. So here question is, which of the following is the first step in seed germination? Where the first step is imbibition of water, and this is the first visible sign of seed germination, emergence of radicle. We cannot see this sign, but we can see this one, but this is the last step. Emergence of radicle and plumule is the last step in seed germination. So here answer is option D. Okay. So these are some of the references. Hartman and Kessler Davis. This is a very excellent basic reference book for this seed germination, seed dormancy and seed germination. This is another important good book. Hopkins reference book, Agarwal textbook. Some websites also I have referred for preparing these questions. Okay. And students, did you like the video? This is the question I'm asking you, because I'm hoping so. And if so, please subscribe to this channel, NR Service Botany channel. You have to subscribe if you have not already. And you have to click the bell icon, because you know that you will get immediately notified when a new educational video like this one is posted again. So please subscribe to this channel. And thank you very much for kindly listening. We'll meet in the second topic. We'll meet for second topic in this series. Till then, thank you very much for kindly listening to this. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.